Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 8, Second Sons. Now, before we start this review, I just want to address something here of why we haven't been releasing videos in the past 3 weeks. It's been a whole cycle of nonsense. So basically, a couple weeks ago, I'm working on the Godfather review that also dropped today that you guys saw, right? So I'm working on that, so we have to push back Game of Thrones a little bit. But then Spider-Man comes out, and I say to myself, well, Aaron, how you doing?
No, I was going to let you go.
I didn't even introduce you.
They see me right there. I'll give a nice little wave to the audience.
Yeah, you're there.
Don't worry, folks.
Well, so Spider-Man comes out, and I say, I'll throw together a little Spider-Man review. And it's funny, in the beginning of the Spider-Man review, I said, I'll just play it. Now, before you comment, hey, wait a minute, this isn't Game of Thrones. Where's Game of Thrones? Well, we've been playing Spider-Man all week, so cut us a break. So yeah, I addressed that, Game of Thrones was pushed back in the Spider-Man review. And then what happens? I get sick. I get an outer and inner ear infection. So it messes up my jaw. All my face is messed up. I'll post a little picture. This is, the areas that were infected. So I can't speak.
No.
So I'm out for another, week. So I'm sorry.
Maybe you should get a better immune system.
I have a very weak immune system.
Yeah, you do get sick.
I'm a sickly person.
At first you're like, I got an ear infection. I'm like, okay. So you can't hear. Toughen up. But, I saw it. Your jaw was hurting. And once I saw it, I'm like, yeah. Maybe.
I had a swollen face.
Yeah, maybe we'll just
face.
Push it back a little. And that's what we did.
Yeah, well, we're sorry. But
luckily, nobody noticed. I think we got away scot-free on this one.
That is true. And I just want to say that this episode of Nerd Soup is sponsored by Vikings.
Ooh, okay. Welcome back.
Vikings War of Clans leads the next generation of role-playing games by giving you a fully immersive experience right in the palm of your hand. By downloading Vikings on your iOS or Android device, you can lose yourself in a world that includes 20 million online players worldwide. It's an ever-evolving fantasy world that features millions of players fighting over resources, forging alliances, and competing in live events. Become a conqueror of this Nordic world by building your kingdom from the ground up, fortifying your defenses, and being ready to strike at the opportune moment. Vikings is also excited to announce their giveaway on October 5th, only happening on their Instagram page. The winner can win up to 4 drones, including 3 DJI Spark drones and 1 DJI Phantom drone. You can follow the link in the description below to the Vikings Instagram page to get more information on their giveaway. And remember, you can support our channel by downloading Vikings for free, only from our links in the description below, and get the special bonus of 200 gold coins and a protective shield. Also, don't forget to look us up and join our Vikings clan under our nickname, Nerd Soup for You. So the first scene of this episode is Arya and the Hound, and this is after the Hound kidnaps Arya when she was running away from the Brotherhood. And this opening scene is great. It's Arya, it's the first thing that she would do, is just try to kill the Hound with this giant rock. And his reaction is so funny.
If you're in that situation, you think if you got a clean shot, because the X, if you get it, you can go free. If you don't, would you be able to take him out with one clean shot with the big-ass rock?
I feel like he's going to be pretty hurt. You hit him with that rock full strength. He might not be dead, but I don't think he's going to be strong enough to counter.
I'll fucking Gronk spike that shit right on his head and dip. I'm out.
That is hilarious, though. He's like, I'll give you one clean shot. Maybe she just did do it, and it didn't hurt him at all.
Yeah, it's a great scene, though. He tells her how there are worse men than him, and that how he saved Sansa from those men that were trying to attack her. Seen throughout the whole show, and even later on, the type of people in Westeros, that he really isn't the worst person in the world. He's not maybe the greatest person, but
he lives by some sort of weird code.
Yeah, and
he has. Yeah,
we also see after this. I mean, at this point, from the audience perspective, it might not be. You still like the Hound. He's kind of a badass, but you don't really see that character development and that turn he takes later on. But it's kind of that beginning where he's not bringing Arya back to King's Landing. He's bringing her back to her family, even though it's for some gold. But, you got to hook him up a little.
And we see that he becomes more sympathetic in his scenes with Sansa in Season 2, but not as much as his scenes with Arya, because Arya has that personality where she's going to push back and kind of chip away at that exterior that the Hound has. But I do love that line when he says, "There are worse men than me. You've never met my brother. He once killed a man for snoring."
Hell yeah.
That's so funny.
Yo, I would be fucked if I was in the mountains camp.
A little too far.
Dude, I can snore with the best of them.
You're a big snorer?
Hell yeah. And at the end of the scene, too, we see a hint of optimism on Arya's face, like she's finally going home.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no.
Well, that line is great, too, by the Hound. Stop killing me, and maybe we'll get to the wedding in time. And back to Essos, we see Daenerys, Jorah, and Barristan. They're scouting the Second Sons, the mercenary group that was hired by Yunkai to fight against Daenerys. And she's kind of learning about what the Second Sons are, how formidable they can be on the open field, and that they have enough men, even though it's only 2,000 to her 8,000 unsullied. They have enough men to make a difference. And it's another important step for Daenerys to build up her armies, build up her reputation. She was successful in Astapor. Now she has this new test in Yunkai, and she wants to meet with the captains of the Second Sons to kind of sway them. And ultimately, she ends up being successful. But it starts off a little contentious. And the meeting between them, it's a much different meeting than with the Yunkai representative. Because you could just tell that these people they're low-born mercenary scum. There's just no formality.
But I do like Dany's presence in this scene. She kind of keeps cool, and she trades a little bit of jabs, but she seems like she belongs there. At the same time, she's kind of taking note of every slight that's being thrown her way. She remains calm. She doesn't go at them. She doesn't...
Miro is very antagonizing, though.
Yeah.
He is the worst.
But she's
great casting for this scene,
She's
though.
kind of playful with it, where she's like, all right, I'm going to disregard you guys. I'm going to get my way regardless, but...
But she is fuming underneath.
Oh, yeah. She's taking note of everything.
Well, this guy is just an absolute scumbag. I mean, they don't come worse than the Titans bastard.
It's kind of nice to see with Dario, like, he's kind of poking holes in all her plans. Like, you get that confidence from him right away, where he's kind of, he doesn't seem like the rest of them.
Yeah, an introduction to Dario, too. The good Dario. The better Dario.
Yeah.
The real Dario.
I said the real
Dario.
Francis.
I love this whole idea, too, that if I win in the Seven Kingdoms, I'll give you lordships and castles, and then fast forward to season 6. Hey, Daenerys, how about those lordships and castles? No, you stay here, Marine. Yeah. That was for the old Dario. Yeah. You don't get grandfathered in.
He had nicer hair.
Yeah, he was a big movie star now, too. So.
Yeah.
See that picture? That Deadpool?
Good picture.
That's a good flick.
And Dany gives him a barrel of wine. It's kind of a nice call to the books. The plan was to get him, like, fucking hammered and just...
Right.
And go at him, but...
And he doesn't die right away, too. He kind of, like, follows her, and then he dies.
No, yeah, well, I think Artisan Whitebeard... Is it Artisan? No, Artisan's a bread.
Artson.
He saves Daenerys from him. That's when they find out he's actually Sir Barristan, because he fucking tap dances on him.
You're like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
This guy's pretty good.
Hold on a minute.
Well, that's a great look that Barristan gives to Daenerys, too, when Daenerys says, if it comes to battle, kill him first. And Barristan is fuming as well.
Gladly, your grace.
So back at their camp, the Second Sons, the lieutenants, the third guy, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I have it written down, but...
He's chilling.
It's a mixture of my handwriting being bad and his name being hard to pronounce, so he's there.
Hey, I mean, you're still coming off a sickness, so...
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That is true. And I love in this scene how they do position Dario as the character who is going to be a supporting character moving forward, where, like you said, he has that charisma. He's very independent of his other lieutenants and captains, that he has his own way of thinking about Daenerys and about their plans, and you can very much see that in this scene.
Yeah, and he ends up drawing with a Bravosi coin. I feel like they kind of set him up for that one.
I'm glad that he drew it, though.
Yeah, no, for Daenerys.
He was probably going to kill them anyway.
Yeah, and there's that whole scene, the Titans bastard is kind of being his cocky self, and Dario, his philosophy is like, oh, he doesn't pay for women. He likes to...
I think he likes to fight for beauty. I think that's what he said. Yeah, he talks about the 2 thrills, too.
Yeah.
God gave us 2 thrills.
Killing a man that wants to kill you, and
pumping a woman that wants to be pumped.
Does he use pump?
I think he says pumped, yeah.
I don't think so.
No, pipe.
Pipe.
Sorry, yeah.
Still don't think so, no.
But what about the woman who wants to be killed and also pumped? That's ecstasy.
Yeah, that's the jackpot.
That's right.
That's what you write home about.
You gotta go further east to find those women.
But yeah, it's still that natural charisma, and I think that sense of arrogance that I don't think the new Dario really has. He tries to, but I feel like his look is just more what I would picture Dario.
Yeah, he's kind of got a funky looking face.
Yeah,
where he's a handsome dude, but his
oh.
facial expressions, his mannerisms, he's Dario.
Yeah.
You give him the blue streak of hair. I wish they would have done that.
Was that 3-pronged beard?
Yeah, right. He's a character, and he's very charismatic in these scenes. But yeah, this is actually, because I came into Game of Thrones late, this is actually the first scene I ever saw of Game of Thrones. This scene of Season 3 of Dario sneaking into Daenerys' camp when she's taking a bath.
Would you just turn it on, and then that was...
I think so, yeah. I think I was like flicking through the channels and it was HBO and it was this scene. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this show.
Oh, what's the show
What's this
Aaron
show?
keeps bothering me about?
Yeah, that is true. I was like, is that the HBO?
What about that scene in particular got you interested?
Well, it was the languages. When
Yeah.
They were talking about the different,
Yeah, the languages.
I'm a big fictional language guy.
Oh, okay.
So when Missandei said that she can speak 19, I was like, there's 19 languages in this fucking
Yeah,
show?
that's
Holy smokes.
I can see that, yeah.
No, but there were two big reasons why I started watching. But it is a great scene. It's a great interaction between Daenerys and Missandei. It's cute.
Yeah, it's nice little playful banter.
And then it's kind of messed up by Dario.
Yeah.
I've got 3 heads.
I mean, having taken like 5 years of Spanish and not retaining a single word, I sympathize with Daenerys here.
Yeah, she's good at it.
Yeah.
But, she's no Missandei.
No, of course not. And it's revealed that Dario killed the other 2 lieutenants of the Second Sons and pledged his fealty to Daenerys.
Right, and he gives a good reasoning, too, that he was commanded to kill Daenerys. So she kind of questions him and says, how can I trust somebody who kills his own comrades? And he says, well, they commanded me to kill you, so I killed them instead. I'm Dario Naharis. I always have a choice.
Didn't know they were communists.
I knew you were going to say that. Just couldn't resist, right? I do like the way she says it, too. Comrades. Very English, very posh.
Why would I trust a man who murders his comrades?
He's great in this scene, too, when he says, they drew their swords, I drew mine. Very calm, cool, nonchalant about it. I was going to handle this from the beginning.
Yeah.
They drew their swords, and I drew mine.
And even in that first scene, when he looks back, he gives her that look. He can tell that he knows the winning side. The way that Daenerys inspires people to fight for them. So it's a great scene when she gets dressed and she says, will you fight for me? And he goes down on his knees and says, yes, my sword is yours, my life, my heart.
The Second Sons are yours, and so is Dario Naharis. My sword is yours, my life is yours, my heart is yours.
Oh, man.
Now, going back to the ancestral seat of House Targaryen, where their princes would stay, Dragonstone. And Gendry has arrived with Melisandre, and they're going to meet Stannis. And such a great Stannis introduction, just walks right up to him. Gendry kind of bows, and Stannis kind of just grabs him by the chin. Yeah, that's raw, but...
They didn't need Maury back in the day.
Nope, just Stannis.
You just bring your baby to Stannis, and he'll tell you who the father was.
Just grabs him by the chin. That's a great show, Stannis.
He sees Jon at the wall, he's like, Rhaegar.
Rhaegar, Lyanna.
Yeah.
Pushes him aside. I just want to point out, too, they did a great job. Because I'm big on this. I'm big on casting actors that look like each other when they're related. Gendry, Robert, Stannis, they all look like they could be brothers. Like they're almost the 3 stages of the Pokemon evolution of being Robert.
Disrespect towards Renly, man.
Oh, Renly's the cute. Who's the first Pikachu?
Pichu?
Pichu. Pikachu and then Raichu. That's perfect. And Stannis is Pikachu, Robert's Raichu. But Gendry looks like he could be related to them as well. But Melisandre, too, talking about slaughtering the lambs. It's very sinister.
She talks about how the lambs, they see the knife and get spooked. It kind of spoils the meat. Which,
yeah.
Is that true, you think?
Yeah, probably not, but it's a good story. It's very convincing.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. Yeah, the lamb never sees a knife, which is kind of a fucked up way. Like, and we see it later, what she does to Gendry. He's not expecting the knife. And
yeah, we'll go to that scene, the way that she...
you don't want to petrify...
Well, before we do that, let's go to Stannis going to meet Davos in the dungeons. And I have to say, Davos is just so excited when he realizes that he can read that sentence.
With Davos?
Yeah. He's having a great time.
I left a note, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to be mean.
What is it?
Can you guess?
When Teddy was picked on to read in class?
Something along those lines. That's what it sounds like, Ted.
That's what it's...
But...
He never watches these anyway.
Oh, no. Yeah, even if he did.
To swallow a horse whole.
But he is very happy, and Stannis comes down. He asks him, how are they feeding you? How are you doing? And it's funny, you can see how low that Davos is at this point in time, where he basically says he's been in worse situations, that he values his life very little at this point in time. And Davos reads Stannis right away when Stannis is breaking down that Gendry was brought here, and Davos knows that Melisandre is going to sacrifice him.
Yeah, and it's almost like Stannis wants Davos to talk him out of it, and Davos does call him out on that. It's like, that's the reason why you came down here. But the whole time he's talking to him, you can tell that something more is weighing on his mind. Even when he offers condolences to Davos' son, and he's asking how he is, how they're treating you down here. That whole time you could tell there's something more to why he came down there.
And this is why I love Davos, too, because he has this great ability to just talk people out of these situations where he knows that these situations are bad for them, and he's looking out for the people that he truly does care about, especially when he brings up Renly. The fact that Stannis killed his own brother, but Davos justifies that by saying, well, Renly wronged you. He declared himself king. This kid Gendry, he's innocent. And he knows that Stannis came to him because Stannis wants to be talked out of this. He knows that it's wrong, but it's just that buildup of that delusion that Stannis has, this whole idea that it's his destiny to stop the long night.
Well, he says, what's one bastard boy against the kingdom, which he rehashes in, I think, the finale of season 3 as well.
And Davos says, everything.
Well, not this, later on, that's what he says.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
I was waiting for it because I kind of forgot when it comes.
I was too,
I'm like,
yeah.
Let's go, hit him with that. I think that was intended towards Joffrey in the books.
Right. And also a hint of a Stannis smile in this scene.
I can't swear never to speak against her.
You have little regard for your own life.
Quite little, Your Grace. Verging on none.
That's something Stannis would kind of smile about, too, though.
Oh, he's suicidal.
And yeah, ends up freeing Davos, and he tells Davos how he saw a great battle in the snow and the flames.
Ooh, that's coming, man. I'm pumped. I'm getting ready for season 8. This scene made me hype. But I also love Davos, too, talking.
We was probably talking about him getting smoked by Ramsay. She kind of just cut out the main parts. It's
well,
like,
that's
your
your interpretation, man. You interpret visions and dreams in your own way. And the idea, too, of Davos talking about the gods, that the gods were a story that fathers and mothers invented to keep their children sleeping at night. This is the way he delivers this, too. You could feel the emotion when he's talking about his son, asking him if he was ever going to die. And I wanted to say, no, child, you never will. It's great. I always love when you get into the personal philosophies of these characters.
No, child, you never will, unless we happen upon a great deal of wildfire. Then you're fucked.
Mothers, get down.
It was cool, too, when looking back at some old, book theories, what's a one bastard boy against the kingdom? And it's funny how a lot of people are relating, oh, that's in reference to Jon, probably.
Right.
Or something like that, so.
And going to the scene between Melisandre and Gendry, she just does a great job of never showing him the knife. And it's funny, too, with Gendry that he's never experienced anything like this in his life, this luxury. All the food, the room.
He's skeptical from the onset.
And I have to say,
beginning.
Yeah, the way that Game of Thrones balances disturbing themes with just elegance, it's unlike any show I've ever seen where you could just feel the luxury in this room, but then Melisandre pulls out the leeches. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
She works fast too. Gendry was like, oh, what's going on? It's like, all right.
Whoa, were we naked?
That was I couldn't think of anything worse, from a point A to point B. How quickly, well, I guess Theon, but
right.
Yeah, that's Theon. Maybe a little worse, but
this is that is very similar.
Yeah,
definitely different motives.
Yeah,
but it's great too, Melisandre's ability to just kind of twist people's ideas. When Gendry says this doesn't seem very religious, and she says, "Oh, what's religious to you? Those old women that are always preaching the 7 gods and King's Landing." This is religion. Look at me. I'm religion. Gendry's like, yeah, I could get behind this. I believe.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
So, nah, in second thought, maybe. This religion kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Stannis walks in, too. He's like, what?
It's so disturbing. Davos is like, what the hell? I just wanted a demonstration. You can't prick his finger? You freak?
You just got to get the blood flowing.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Get that good blood.
You got to get the Robert out in him. That's something Robert had been all aboard for. Even with the leeches, Robert had been like, ha, give me another.
Yeah. But this is when Stannis drops them in the flames, and he says, Robb Stark, Joffrey, Balon Greyjoy. I wish they would have killed Balon a little earlier.
You think after you left, Melisandre dropped the Shireen in there?
You think so?
Yeah, she snuck that one right in.
And it's funny, too, because I talked about how I caught up, and when I first saw this, the wedding between Tyrion and Sansa, I thought this was the Red Wedding because I had heard of it. So it was kind of the first big wedding that you see on the show. So I thought, oh, people are about to get smoked, and nobody did. But this scene between Tyrion and Sansa when he goes to escort her, it's a great interaction between these two characters, these two outsiders that are being forced to get married.
Yeah, and he kind of reassures her that he won't hurt her, kind of, I guess, playing off of what Marjorie was telling her in the past episodes about how there's worse people than Tyrion, and also what the Hound is telling Arya.
Right.
There are worse people to be with. And Tyrion is definitely one of the most decent people in Westeros that we know, so.
Yeah, if you can get past all the superficial things then Tyrion is probably the best husband that you could get in Westeros. And Sansa's also, at this point, a good match, too. And you can even see them kind of bond in the next episode before the Red Wedding happens, and it's sweet. But this scene where Sansa tells Tyrion that you can never know how I truly feel, and Tyrion kind of admits, yeah, that is true. I've had a hard life, but what you've gone through over these past couple of years is just torture.
You're a musical girl, aren't you? I imagine you have a lovely voice.
A better dancer than a singer, I'm afraid.
Oh, but you know the song The Rains of Castamere.
Fucking love this.
This
is awesome.
I feel so bad for Marjorie, but I love Cersei in this scene.
It's vintage Cersei. It's prime Cersei. Absolutely. Oh, it's amazing.
It's a great history lesson, too.
Just telling her the story of the Rains of Castamere, and she's like relating that story to their situation now.
House Wren was the second most powerful house in the
It's like, oh, aren't
you the second most? Oh, okay.
Just making sure.
Yeah, it's like ambitious climbers never stop at the second highest mountain. They always want to get to the top.
And both their mannerisms during the scene is great, too. Like, Cersei, she's fucking loving every second of the story of her telling this.
Oh, she loves it.
And Marjorie's, like, listening, but fake smiling to other people in the room, like, waving to other people. Cersei's just fucking antagonizing her.
She's got that face on her from SpongeBob. This is a load of barnacles. She's trying so hard to get away from her at this point.
Oh my god, it's so great. And Cersei ends it with, "You will never call me sister again, or I'll have you strangled in your sleep." That's why she's the fucking best.
And you could see Marjorie, just the fear in her face at the end. But I think it's also a smart move for Marjorie too, because she probably suspected, and she's probably heard stories about Cersei. You want to see how far they will go. You want to keep poking the bear until they expose themselves. So now she knows what she's truly dealing with. I mean, she's not successful in this battle between her and Cersei. I love this, too, when Sansa is approached by Joffrey, who's going to give her away at her wedding. And she kind of has a moment where she's caught off guard. She's like, what are you doing? It's very unlike Sansa to be that.
Well, you don't have a father, so I'm the father of the kingdom.
What is wrong with this guy, man?
I have no idea.
I'm the father of the kingdom.
It's kind of dope, though.
How?
Not the situation, but to be the father of the kingdoms. It's pretty good tagline.
I'm the daddy of the kingdoms.
Yeah.
He is just such a little troll, man, when he takes away the stool for Tyrion.
Oh, yeah. That's
and he can't cloak her. And then I love how when people are laughing in the crowd, Tywin kind of looks back and says, "You better shut the fuck up, you motherfuckers."
Pretty boring ceremony, though.
Boring ceremony, boring reception.
No one died, no nothing.
Yeah, it's a very boring. Dothraki in the crowd like, "This wedding's, oh my brother." This wedding stinks.
There's a load of barnacles.
But the reception, too, when Olenna is trying to explain to Marjorie and Loras the relation between all of them now. It's kind of like an average fan trying to figure out who is who.
Yeah. Imagine the fucking fucked up family tree on that one. If that one went through.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of family trees like that in Game of Thrones, especially with the Targaryens.
Oh, yeah, it's just a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Boy, Tyrion, he's getting lit.
Well, that scene between him and Tywin, too, is just such great acting by Tyrion. "I am the god of tits and wine." So I'm going to build a shrine to myself in the next brothel that I visit.
I kind of wrote in my notes, like, is he a good drunk actor?
Yes.
It was kind of a little...
No, I think he is a good drunk actor.
Okay. It just felt a little off. Like he was trying too hard to be drunk. I don't sound like that when I drink.
How would you remember?
Good point.
Little shot, too, here of Pycelle spitting game at some of the young women.
You can hear in the background, like, he's like, "Oh, yes, I like you." Why'd I do a Bill Clinton?
And Cersei, before she just puts Marjorie in her place, and then that scene with her and Loras, where Loras is like, "Well, you know, my father always used to say, nobody gives a shit what your father used to say. Shut up."
She's on fire this whole episode.
Yeah, she's good in this episode. Loras should have walked up to that ledge and was like, "I wonder if a fall from this height would kill me."
I wonder if a fall from this height would be enough to kill me.
Yeah, I mean, even earlier in the scene, like Cersei tries to sway Joffrey against tormenting Tyrion and Sansa. It didn't really work too well. We see
it's like, "Oh, why don't you go talk to your bride-to-be?" It's like, "I got my whole life to do that."
Yeah.
Yeah, but this scene between him and Sansa, it's...
Yeah, the things he says to Sansa is just disgusting. Like, pretty much threatens to rape her and have Sir Meryn and... Who's the other guy? Boros? Boros, whatever, hold her down. It's just this, like...
Sansa's reaction, too, where she's kind of just like... She's kind of numb to it at this point. It's not that same reaction she would have a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, it's more of par for the course for Joffrey.
And even the bedding ceremony, she's just kind of going through the motions, but Tyrion's having none of that.
No, yeah, he threatens Joffrey when he tries to initiate the betting ceremony. I fucking love this scene, too. He's fucking pissed. You could tell, like, he's drunk, he doesn't really care, and he finally...
Then you'll be fucking your own bride with a wooden cock.
What did you say?
And when he's escorting Sansa out of the room, you know, he's playing it off, he's playing to the crowd. And he says, I once threw up on a girl in the middle of the act. I'll tell you all about it, get you in the mood. He knows how to butter them up.
Yeah.
And this scene between them when they do get to the room, and I always find it so sad when Sansa just kind of submits, where she gets undressed and she understands her role.
You can see on Sansa's face, like, she's scared, she's horrified, and she knows where the duty is supposed to be. She starts trying to undress, and...
Which I always find it so sad.
It is. It's such a polar opposite of what she envisioned her life to be. Marrying a prince or a knight, falling in love, them saving her and having children and just being one happy, perfect fairy tale. Her life has been the complete opposite. And it sort of all culminates into this moment where she has to do something where she doesn't want. But luckily Tyrion refuses to consummate, and he won't put her through that, and says, I'll only do it when you're ready. And... that's a great line when she's like, what if I'm never ready? It's like, well, so my watch begins.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and now my watch begins. Like you were saying before, it's kind of weird how, like, the tone around it is one way, but there's a lot of dark stuff going on in the scene, but it kind of plays off like a really dark comedy a lot of times with Tyrion and his interactions, him playing drunk, and his little one-liners throughout this whole scene and series.
Oh, yeah.
It just felt a little weird, like all the comedic moments in this dark, depressing scene.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of dark comedic moments found throughout Game of Thrones. I think that's one of the surprising elements that I found when I first started it, how funny it is, how genuinely funny the show can be. But yeah, like you said, it's overall, it's a very sad scene always watching Sansa have to go through with this, and then Tyrion being the one to say, no, we're not going to do this. And even when they wake up the next day and Shay kind of checks on them and realizes that they didn't do anything, it would have been inevitable if Sansa never left, that eventually he would have had to have gotten rid of Shay. And this was going to be his wife. It's overall, like you said, it's a very dark and sad scene.
Well, even after that whole thing, when he won't consummate the marriage, he just plops onto the fucking bed and flexes out drunk. Like, that's pretty funny.
That is funny, yeah. It just knocks out. And the final scene of this episode with Sam and Gilly, one of the best Sam and Gilly scenes, and really an important scene as to the overall lore of the show in terms of the enemy. But it starts with Sam and Gilly. They make camp, and Sam is trying to start a fire. And we've talked about this before, that Sam is very book smart and Gilly is street smart. They're going over baby names, and this is really funny. Yeah. I find this, like you said, it's that comedic element that the show has.
Yeah, what did it say? Talking about Randall. It's like, don't name him that.
It's a Randall. That's a handsome name. It's Gilly learning, too, more about Westerosi customs and the first name and the last name, and she even wants to name the baby Mormont. I do love, too, that Sam, when he was trying to claim that the baby was winking at him, it's like, no, I think it just blinked. It's like, well, there's a philosophical difference between a wink and a blink. Yeah, this is the third time they kind of use that in the episode where you have Stannis and Davos talking about sacrifice and killing, and then...
She's going to kill him.
Sacrifice him.
Forgive me, Your Grace, I'm not a lettered man, but is there a difference between kill and sacrifice?
It's much lighter in the scene with Sam and Gilly talking about a wink and a blink.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a rather philosophical difference between a wink and a blink.
What?
And with Dario and Daenerys, I think he references that too.
Why?
We had philosophical differences.
Over what?
Your beauty. It meant more to me than it did to them.
Right, so it's kind of a little reoccurring thread throughout this episode. I do enjoy the scenes between Sam and Gilly in these earlier seasons because they serve a purpose, to share their experiences. I think there is something of value in these moments, where I think that in later seasons they really didn't know what to do with them, where they are major characters, so they have to be in the show. It's almost like a Finn and Poe situation in Star Wars. It's like, well, we have to do something with them.
Yeah, and then this leads into one of the fucking... That's the sound the crows make on that tree. It's so...
Was that Bloodraven?
What?
Was that Bloodraven warning them?
Could have been. I don't know.
It's gotta be, I think.
Maybe. I just thought it was just added to the mystique, like the crows calm when the White Walker and the werewood, the symbolism. Yeah, very well, because he uses the werewood as a means of communication, so...
Get the fuck out of there.
Like, yeah. dude, dip.
That motherfucker's coming for the baby.
Yeah, that noise, man. I had to lower my TV. I felt like my whole fucking... It was just too much for me. I was like, oh my God, it's so annoying. And it really got them out. I mean, they go from that playful moment to just... This terrified me when I first saw it. And even rewatching it, just the sound of the crows, all of them huddled up on the weirwood, getting louder and louder and louder. You knew something's gonna happen, and here comes strutting Big Daddy Ice.
Yeah, they handled this so well, all these scenes with the White Walkers. Big Daddy Ice. I like that. It's a good name.
He just pulls up by himself like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and it's the first time we kind of get a good look at him. It's cool how they balance that, where this is the enemy, this is the face of the enemy, or one of them. But it still keeps that mystique. Because even though Gilly says, oh, I want the baby, but what for? What does he want the baby for? Why is he coming after Sam and Gilly? Why is he here in this moment? It's just terrifying. The look of the character, the design of the character, his slow movements, the build-up. And the moment where we learn more about their powers, too. When he grabs Sam's sword, he just shatters it, throws Sam across the field.
Yeah, it's like he's not even interested in killing or causing chaos in that scene. He just came to get the baby and bring it back.
Right. It shows that they're not mindless, that they do have a purpose here. But what is that purpose? And of course, when Sam pulls out the dragon glass dagger that was found in Season 2, proves to be a formidable weapon against the White Walkers.
Yeah, not bad. Very efficient. It's lightweight. You can carry it with you. It's all around, Yeah, but Sam the Slayer is born.
Sam the Slayer. I wish that somebody could show this video to his dad. It's like, oh,
you would
you
still be
warrior?
Unimpressed. Like, oh, whoop-de-doo, you have a magic fucking dagger.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all you did.
I wanted you to punch him in the throat.
He just rewinds back. It's like, yeah, see this? When he catch your sword and disregarded you? Where were you on that? Come on. Dickin, where the fuck? We would have grabbed him by the throat and throw him.
And just once again, I always compliment them on how sparingly they used the White Walkers in these earlier seasons. And they still kind of do.
Well, yeah, I mean, towards the end, setting up the inevitable showdown, so they have been more and more glimpses, but these little tastes,
it's so perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so unexpected, too. You're so steeped in all the political drama, and then they just throw this in at end of episode 8.
I forgot about those guys.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? What is this? This is fantasy? Oh, yeah. It's fantasy. So, yeah, what would you give this episode out of 10?
We're still doing this? I feel like we stop, we rate, we go back. Really good episode. I'd probably give it like a 9.1. That just feels right.
9.1?
Yeah, I really like this
I'd probably
episode.
give it like a 9.2. Feels right.
Yeah. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed taking this journey with us. We'll be stopping this revisited series, and we had a lot of fun doing this, interacting with you guys, taking this crazy journey of Game of Thrones. But, like they say, all good things must come to an end.
Yeah, this final episode. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually a fan of open endings.
Yeah.
But this one, I think we can all assume that Robb wins.
Yeah, I think so.
And Sam goes on to eradicate all the White Walkers because he found their weakness.
He's got the dagger. Yeah.
Yeah. Ned gets resurrected by Thoros and Beric.
Yep.
Yeah, good show.
Very good.
Yeah.
No Breaking Bad.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and before we go, I want to quickly thank our Patreon supporters. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to grow and evolve as a channel, so thank you for your generous pledges. If you are interested in supporting our channel through Patreon, visit www.patreon.com/nerdsoup, and you can see the different rewards we offer to our Patreon supporters. T-shirts, mugs, stickers, access to our behind-the-scenes video, and more. Thanks again for watching this video, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Or dislike, don't share, and unsubscribe. It's a binary world, folks.